I'm going to talk about the difference between therapy and coaching in the context of family addiction engagement training, which is aimed at inspiring your loved one to accept help. My name's Jeff Jones, family addiction recovery coach. And so I have about 18 years of doing therapy in office, face to face. And one of the things I've seen over and over again is that people will come in with a problem that they're having with their loved one, maybe some kind of communication or how to talk about something. And so we end up doing a role play in session. And what I've noticed is that people get better, they get it. And in the therapy room, they make progress. They make a lot of progress. And then what happens is they go home and they go back into the kind of, the stressful crucible of addiction, and then they lose that progress, and they may lose it right away, and they don't call me. And because it's therapy, and therapy is thought of generally as we meet once a week, and so I don't hear what happens until the next session, and it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. But so that is, kind of one aspect of therapy that I was noticing wasn't really helpful. So I started doing coaching probably 5 years ago, and online. And so coaching is different. What I have online is a lot of sequenced education for families to start to understand, what is the dynamic, what like that is happening when there's addiction in the family. And there is a communication dynamic. And what I've noticed is, families really want to be helpful. And specifically if addiction is progressive. It's mild, moderate, severe. And, the more that families kind of don't really get education before it gets to severe, it's just the harder it is. So with coaching, families can learn this sequenced education. They can start kind of making changes within themselves. And, when they do that, their loved one will notice something's different. And that is one of numerous ways to inspire new conversation. So, so with therapy, one of the main things that I've noticed is I don't really hear when there's an activating event, when there's a hard communication, until someone comes into the office next. Despite my saying, give me a call, text me, blah, 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 I don't hear that. So what ends up happening is people feel bad, and they feel shame, like it's their fault. Well, first off, it isn't their fault. If you have listened to some of my videos and been to my website, you'll understand that, just in general, one of the biggest problems is there's cultural mixed messages that have been going on for years, decades, centuries, and those mixed messages trickle down into the family, and so different family members have d- different ideas of what addiction is, and they have different personal relationships with the loved one, and that causes a huge difficulty for the family to get on the same page as to what to do differently. And so I've had numerous families that will say, well, wait a minute, why should I change anything? I'm not the one with the problem. They're the ones with the problem. And the reality is families don't need to change. You don't want to change? Don't change. See what happens. My experience and what I've seen is over and over, they're just going to loop into the same patterns. So family members have the best opportunity. Their brain is working better than their loved one who's in addiction and their brain is impaired. So family members who can start to learn new information, and it takes being curious, and you're not going to be curious until you can calm your nervous system, et cetera, et cetera. But once you're curious and once you learn new information, there's so many different things that you can be doing differently. And when you do them differently, one, you can more take care of yourself so you're not so stressed out about this thing, and create new conversations with your loved one. And with coaching, you text me whenever something is happening, before a conversation that could be intense or after. And let me know what's going on, 10-20 minutes, and I can help coach you for you to make your best decision on what to do. Should you do this or should you do that? Sure, I can just say do this kind of thing, and when I lay out options, I'm going to give the pros and cons with each one, but ultimately it's your decision for your next step. And regardless of what you decide, I walk with you. I support you all the way through this. This isn't a one-shot deal. I do not expect you to get this from, looking at a video that I made, or, some slides or some PDFs or something like that. It's like this, it takes a while to get out of old patterns, and I can support you doing that. So you can go to my website, thefamilyrecoverysolution.com. You can make an appointment with me there for free. Talk to me, and you be the judge. Can I be helpful or not? And I know it's a big deal to reach out, so I want to encourage you to reach out. I also want to encourage you to go slow, because when you go slow, you are more apt to make your best decision. And that's what this is all about. So contact me.